Let's call to order City of Port Richey City Council Workshop Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. I'd like to stand and say pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, you take roll, please.
Mayor John Eric Hoover.
Here.
Vice Mayor Linda Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilman Tom Kinsella.
Here.
Councilman David Mueller.
Here.
Councilwoman Cherokee Sampson.
Here.
City Manager Matthew Koppler.
Here. Thank you. I'd like to open up comments from the general public. I don't have a sign-up sheet. I'm not sure anybody signed up, and then we have one. Everything say. Okay. Moving right along. Welcome to the meeting. Pass it on to comments from the city manager.
None.
Okay, then comments from the mayor and city council. I'll start on my right with
Nothing. Thank you.
as well nothing. With that, I will turn over council business to discussion of city council vision and goal setting for City of Port Richey to Mr. Koppler.
Okay, so first, I want to kind of go back in time, and we have here in different places the results, the raw results. Now, I know everyone should have received what the raw results were for our first session, and it hopefully brings back fond memories. Right?
Yes, very much so.
Very fond memories. If I remember, we went through for the city of Port Richey to be its best, it must, right? So that's no, not yet.
Oh,
No, not yet. I know we provided these at each setting session place, but not for everyone yet. So I'm just going to go over it.
okay.
Right? So, we went through and we listed out the things that you all felt for the city of Port Richey to be its best, it must do something, right? Then we talked about what is the city of Port Richey doing well. Let's come back to you. Remember all these great things. Then we talked a little bit about what is the city of Port Richey not doing so well. Then we talked a little about what factors are out of the control of the city council. Remember this?
Right.
Flashbacks, good. And then we spent a long time going over a question about what is the city going to be known for. I think it was in 5 years, 2026, or maybe it was 2027, whatever. And we came up with a list, a lot of different things. And if you remember, that list was really long, and I could pull that out, but I don't want to use up my white space here, because that's for later. And what that ended up resulting in is me consolidating that all down into. You can share. You can see this. Now, I don't want to get into wordsmithing because we're going to have time for that. But what I did with all of that was take what we all kind of looked at and said, hey, that's a really good vision statement to transform the city of Port Richey to a model city, and then started working from there. And the mission statement, I realized, really was more of a vision statement of what we wanted to become. And again, I've done some wordsmithing here for this, and we can talk about that at a later time. But I think just from a practical work from statement, I came up with this. City of Port Richey aspires to become a safe, highly effective, and efficient city with sustainable development practices, high quality of life, robust community engagement, and distinguished status, becoming a model that inspires and guides other communities towards prosperity and well-being. Now, that wasn't just from that one to transform the city of Port Richey to a model city. It was everything that you spent those 3+ hours working on that really gave me that language. And hopefully, we kind of look at that, and again, we can toy around with it, but hopefully that resonates at very with everyone, that's something that we all want. It talks about being effective and efficient with our city services. It talks about engaging the quality or engaging the people, the public. And I think it's a good base to start from. And one of the things that I like to play around sometimes. And, I took all those things that we did, all these words here from this, and did less word cloud because I like word clouds. But it also helps start focusing on themes, right? You know, and you see what the big one was? The word that you use the most. Residents. And so I think that, you know, became what that vision statement was, is this is to develop the best community for our residents. And you know, if we do that for ourselves, we should share that model. The next step on this journey was then looking at all the rest. You know, what did it mean? What putting together these words, what did it generate? And to me, it started forming a strategic outcome. And that's the next piece of this is, you know, last meeting was about what is our overarching thoughts of what we want to produce and provide for our residents. And so it led to 6 strategic outcomes because I don't like odd numbers, so I had to do 6. And so the first one is an adaptable, efficient, effective, and fiscally responsible government that is easy to do business with and follows through on what it says it will do. And again, I think there was a lot of discussion about all those points. And again, when you kind of go through all those, that last piece that we did, you know, I think you can easily find, you know, the little city that could, you know, a place where, city that listens and cares for and provides the highest level of services. I mean, those words are found in the words that we put up on the boards at the last meeting. The second strategic outcome is a well-maintained infrastructure and parks or natural environment. Again, you may not find those exact words in here, but I took a little liberty in kind of putting things together and saying that's what we really mean with this. The third one is a vibrant waterfront that enhances the community and provides opportunities for residents and visitors to experience the benefits of the Port Richey lifestyle. I mean, there's something to be said for the community we live in, right? I mean, this is a great place to live. And it's unique in very many ways. And to be able to share that not only with people that want to come and visit and, you know, visit the waterfront, go to the restaurants, you know, visit our businesses, but also our residents, because, you know, there are probably new residents, definitely, that haven't experienced everything here in the city. And you know, we have to do a job to get them introduced into those lifestyles that they can have here in the city. The fourth one is constant and continuous engagement with residents and businesses that encourages feedback and participation in the governance process. And again, I think going back to our word cloud, you know, it's about residents and how we get them engaged in things that we think are important to do is because they think it's important to do. The fifth thing, and by the way, these are not in any particular order, is just how they came out. The fifth one is seek to develop strategic partnerships with other municipalities, levels of government, quasi-government agencies, nonprofits, and commercial entities that will better the city of Port Richey. And I think for those that were able to make it this morning to our joint meeting with the county and the city of Newport Richey, you saw what partnerships could be there and how we could take advantage of those things that they offer to make our little piece here in Pasco County a better place. And I think, you know, we do need to develop that strategic partnership, and strategic partnerships aren't about taking, it's about what do we exchange. And so again, I think that's a strategic outcome, but we have to figure out how do we do that. And then the last one is strengthen Port Richey's ability so it can be a safe, resilient community by delivery of high quality public safety services. And again, I think that's something that we spoke about, you know, wanting to have a safe environment, you know, having clean and well-maintained sidewalks and having a good police department, having a good fire department, all these things that you know, we hold as value should be the strategic outcome. But now the hard work is giving, you know, meat to that skeleton there. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And joining us tonight are department directors because in the end, once we have these goals, they're the ones that are going to be responsible for carrying out your goals that you lay out. So having a partnership today is going to be important to fostering and furthering what the goals that we ultimately come up with are going to be. So the way that we're going to play this game tonight, and this will be fun hopefully, is through using the latest artificial intelligence. I fed in everyone's name and asked the question, what is the best configuration of teams that I can put so we come out with the greatest outcome? And so there's team 1 there, team 2 will be here, and team 3 will be over there. And the names that the computer spit out, nothing to do with this, by the way. It's all AI, right, Ashley? You was there. She helped me program this. We built these teams. So if you can find your name, that's where you need to sit. Oh, boy. See, I mean, don't make me go back to the computer because it'll probably be a totally different one. You're looking for your name, and I think you are.
Okay.
I think you're over here. I think you're over here. The computer says you have to go over there.
All right. Gotcha. My apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Well, we thought you were sitting there. You might as well move.
Chief, you're up here.
Get another chair.
I sure can. There's that one too, but I brought a very big team, so it's 4.
For 5 years out in the audience.
All right.
Well, we got predictions, we got grants, and we got some finances. It's a pretty good team right there.
Money.
Okay. So the task is really easy today. In looking at the strategic outcomes under our vision statement, there's six different outcomes. So we're going to go through each of those outcomes. We'll be given a certain amount of time to brainstorm, come up with projects, ideas to help create those strategic outcomes. First thing, before you start, you gotta find someone to write down your ideas.
You were in charge of this.
Do I need this?
Yep.
I thought I was loud enough. Okay. So you need to appoint someone to be the scribe.
Done. Check.
Just to let you know that part of that responsibility is that they will have to write what you come up with on these boards here. So penmanship is important. The second thing that you'll have to appoint is the person that's going to explain what you come up with. It can be the scribe if you want to do that, but it can be someone else. So I'll just let you know that. And then once you start that, we'll start with the very first strategic outcome. So the first one is an adaptable, efficient, effective, fiscally responsible government that is easy to do business with and follows through on what it says it will do. So we need to come up with projects, plans, ideas that helps create that outcome. You will have, well, okay, so here's the question I have for you. If you come up with one idea in 1 minute, ideas out of 10 minutes? Or is it you're just going to get one idea in 10 minutes? And see, that's not acceptable, so then I'm going to go 30 minutes, and we're going to be here till midnight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 15 minutes for the first one to see what you do. And I'm going to start the clock right now. And don't go beyond. When you're done with number one, please raise your hand.
You guys want to get a little?
Got it right. Why don't I sit back? Sure. That license back here. No.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay.
So, should we leave the mics on or no?
We have 9 minutes. 9 minutes to go. So we have
We have a little less than 4 minutes left right now. How are we doing? And you're doing well. Nobody else is listening to me, so yeah. I get one third of people listen to me. 3:48. Hopefully you have at least 10 things by now. Okay, that's 15 minutes. Did it feel like 15 minutes? So I feel like I'm in a department director meeting again. People start talking. I have the microphone. No. So that was 15 minutes. I actually planned on 20 minutes. Do you want to go another 5 minutes, or are you comfortable with what you got? We're good. You good? You're good? Okay, so the scribe needs to put them up here. I only have 2 because I didn't think far ahead to get 3. So you have to take turns. So 2 people start filling those up. Go. You have 30 seconds.
What am I writing with? Oh, it's up there. No giggling.
Okay. So group 1, do you want to tell us what you have up there?
Increase multiple avenues of communication to residents regarding city processes.
Do you want to explain it maybe a little bit?
I would love to. We were going in, getting into real detailed stuff as to what needs to be done, but we felt the operative words in here were easy to do business with. The government that is easy to do business with and follows through on what it says it does. And we used, they were talking about the Blue Point grave. And how that was talked about for a long time, probably over a year on and off, and nothing was done. And then it was finally done. And even as a council person, I would not have known that was even completed had I not seen it on Facebook. So one of my things is all our things is communication. You can, in that communication, you can do what Group 2 had, and multiple forms of communication. Yes, Facebook is wonderful, but not everybody has Facebook. So then maybe there's email, maybe there's the website, maybe it's a print copy. I mean, just blank it out to get
What we are doing,
and if you see people having problems, you can fix it with communication to all the residents. If they're having trouble filling out forms, or they're having trouble getting building permits, or as you go along, fix it with the communication to the residents.
Okay. Okay. Any questions on that?
Can I just add something? I think what we're also trying to establish is a repeatable process here across all departments. In other words, when something occurs and we're trying to effectively address, adapt efficiently, effectively, and be fiscally responsible, have a process that each department follows through on. So it's each department could stand independent and the process is the same. So that would make us more efficient and make us more potentially easy to do business.
Okay. Good. Again, any questions? Group 2.
So we're kind of amplifying and, the same information, what they just said about reaching out to citizens. But we were also thinking of expanding that to simplify the process. One of the main concerns was, streamlining payments, streamlining any type of process a resident may have. And maybe one of those things would be training through tutorials, videos set up that anyone would be able to find. So if they had to fill out a permit through the building department, or any type of process through utility billing or any other department, that these videos, it would be a series of videos that they can follow, simple instructions, even for the handicapped, disabled, people who can't hear will have captions at the bottom so that they can follow these instructions. Because what we talked about is that there are a lot of residents who don't go online, don't have Facebook, don't have any type of way to surf the net or anything like that. They really just do not understand. So if we made these videos and made it aware through mailers and stuff like that they're used to seeing, then they can go ahead and come here. We can present these videos, show them, and then make them understand. One of the other things we wanted to point out is to implement and identify programs that will continue yearly. One of the things that we've done is that we'll do something when we have the money available as far as a grant, but we don't continue these programs that are needed. We try and wait for something to come, but I think that if we even did 100 feet of sidewalk a year, if that's what the budget allows, that's 100 feet less than we had to do the year before. So even if we have a pavement program, and right now we're going to be doing pavement because of ARPA, but what do we do next year? What do we do the year after that? So I think that if we have these programs locked in place, that no matter what monies, even if the money comes out of the budget and we do at least a little bit of something, we're continuing that program until we can receive further grant dollars.
Thank you. Any questions?
Want to add to that, if you're going to have videos and those kinds of things, would it behoove us to set up a PC in the lobby or somewhere where they let
Kiosk?
people know that they can come in and do that and get assistance?
Well, it's good that we have the front conference room because that would work out excellent for anyone that would came on. If we sent out a general mail to all the residents, and of course, once again, if they don't know how to surf a computer or don't have any idea what it is, at least we can set something up. They can sit down. We basically select that video and have it easily accessible for staff. You know, they just hit the video and say, "This is how you fill out a permit. This is how you pay your utility bill. This is how you change the batteries in your smoke detector." Any type of video that would help residents in all the different departments. But of course, that would have to start out with reaching each department head and creating an outline for what videos would need to be created, and then move forward from there.
Other questions? Okay, group number 3. What do you got?
So ours was similar too. The first one we said an intake system for tracking by department. It would allow our departments to take action and prioritize things. It would then inform the public of the process and the result. We could track hours, we could track the cost. It could help justify, purchasing equipment, adding more staff, funding, things like that. Then we also had an updated website that's user-friendly and easy. They can find things better. Refine processes to be flexible, not rigid. Document them, maybe even some flowcharts. And then look at surrounding communities for examples and adapt them to our needs. And then partner with them as well.
And just to expand on that, obviously, so we first started talking about the tracking system. Again, not sure what we have internally, but I think we have tools, iWorks, whatever. But we want a multimodal way to interact with the city, whether it's your cell phone, your web, a kiosk, great idea. Some documentation where you come in and get the forms, even set up an appointment to have somebody help with that. So basically, any possible way we can engage the resident in their preferred method to get the information in. And once we have that information, that we put it into an internal tracking system. So just to kind of walk you through an example, I go out, I see a pothole, I get out on the website and I say, hey, notice a pothole on Bay Boulevard, here's the address. And I'm able to create a ticket. And that ticket I can put, if I want to continuous push updates to me, I can put my cell phone in there. And so immediately I get feedback via email, text, or whatever, saying that we've received your issue and it's in process. So they get that immediate feedback that there's a acknowledgement that it was submitted, and then we set up the system in a way that it continues to push that information. So if it gets transferred over to the pothole people, there's a message that goes out that says your ticket's been forwarded to the next department, and then that tech goes out and says, I've reviewed it. And so basically they're engaged the entire process if they choose to be, but they can also go out and engage the system and actually look at those data points themselves, or they can actually get it pushed to them so they can just sit back and continually be updated. And that way it keeps people from having to call in to see where they're at. They constantly get feedback. As we hit lulls in that there's a trigger internally. Let's say maybe it's been 5-6 days and nothing's been acted on that particular ticket. It calls out to one of our staff to reach out to that individual just to kind of give them an update. Hey, I know there hasn't been an update on this in 4 or 5 days, but we're looking at combining some stuff together because we got some similar things going on in that area to be more efficient. We look at, as that data comes in, grouping those areas that we need to work on and actually deploy it all at one time. So the key here, obviously, is get the information in, track it well internally, get the information out as updates, and then follow through on it. And it goes a long way. And then obviously, as we start to do that, we have that data, we're able to do a lot more with it on refining processes, seeing what it's costing to do certain things, and seeing if we need additional staff. We need a new piece of equipment because we're doing a lot of pothole refills or whatever. We're able to use that data to make better decisions.
I don't think I've ever referred to that process as a pothole refill. Learn something new every day. Any questions? Good? So we got 1 done, 5 more to go. So number 2, which is well-maintained infrastructure. Good segue. Potholes and well-maintained infrastructure and parks that promote a sustainable community and protects our natural environment. 15 minutes good? Or could you do it in 10 minutes? I'm just asking.
Let's try 10.
Okay, let's do 10. And if you have a roll going, you get more time.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that's 10 minutes. How are we doing? Are we done? You want to do more? No? No? Up, you have a question? You good? You want more? I'm willing, I'm here all night. I mean, the second show is until midnight, so I'm good. You good? Okay, if you're done, scribes, start putting them up. Oh. Well, I think we actually have in one of our medical boxes, we have eye wash. Because it's like. Yes, in the Cintas thing. Yes, exactly. I know we have it because I saw the price on it. It's like, how much you pay for eye wash?
Was it a lot for eye wash?
Huh?
Was it a lot?
Yes, yes.
Supposed to open your eye with a water cup. Okay.
I have contacts. I have, saline solution everywhere practically. Okay. Part of our group is missing, but we're still mighty and strong. We're going to start with group 2 first. Yeah, so we're starting with group 3. Group 3. I need a number there.
Create a plan, readdress the plan constantly, update the maintenance plan, allocate funding, obviously track the state of infrastructure, what it's due for replacement, and just stay on top of that.
Yeah, the key thing that we're concerned about is, we do these things, right? We get the funding, we get them done, and then they just they're done until they need to be done again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we really need to do is when we do something, and the Limestone Pier would be a perfect example of that. The Limestone Pier, 8-9 years ago, the city went out there and they resurfaced it and whatnot, and probably never went out there again after that until they realized they had to shut it down. Well, you do that, and then create this maintenance plan schedule where an employee goes out, say monthly, just inspect, see if there's anything loose, and then they hit the little things. And if you do those little integral things as you go, you don't end up with a big mess later on. So I think we can really enhance our infrastructure and keeping it maintained if we actually put a plan together to continually look at that and do the needful as we go, as opposed to wait until it's defunct.
Okay. Any questions? No questions? Group number 2, I see right there. We have a list.
So yep.
Okay, go.
Can
Yep.
implement continued maintenance programs so that we can work on everything together. Examples like underground, from the underground to roads to sidewalks, to make sure that we aren't, stepping on other departments' toes, that we aren't missing things and having like an oversight or something. Department communication with continual updates to and for each department. So again, that leads back into the first point, that we're all not missing something.
So who's that communication with?
Each department.
So in between inter-department.
Communication.
Not. No. I guess I just wanted to make sure you weren't talking about the council and the public.
No.
Just okay.
Just the inter-department.
Okay.
Continued park maintenance with written procedures for each department for follow-up. It needs to be a collaborative effort. Again, that's kind of the same as 1 and 2, but you see a theme here. Setting up recycling stations in the park, having public suggestion boxes in the park and other places in the city where we know that a lot of people go, and then establishing living shorelines, flood-proofing the park amenities, just to make sure that when there's a flood, that everything is just destroyed that we just did. So.
Okay. Very good. Any questions? Everybody understand all that? Okay, group number 1.
Evaluate, prioritize, and take action. Next one we'll do is the agricultural stormwater in the swales. So that is planting trees, plants, stuff by the swales, so it doesn't take, so it doesn't create washouts. So if you have the trees there, it'll absorb all the water and keep it, environmentally natural environment there. So then wanting to have good maintenance records. So say, we just did all that stuff at Olsner. We write it down and we just from A to Z. And like you guys said, we can go back and look right back at it. When the last time this playground was taken care of, when Olsner, for example, when was the last time that was maintained, painted, so on and so forth. Family-oriented adult and make the parks more ADA. Right now, I think Waterfront's our only bathroom that is ADA compliant. Same with fishing. There's somebody in a wheelchair can't go up and fish because the rails are too high. Well, cut some of them down so people wheelchair height can go fish, whatever they need to do. They can get access to waterfront park, some of the trail that goes back there. People in a wheelchair, scooter stuff, some of them can't go down there because just the way the washouts is, the potholes, so on and so forth. At these parks, make it more, some of it towards the kids, basketball courts, tennis courts, the adults for pickleball courts, volleyball, stuff for kids to do, more for all of them. So that's where we're at with that.
Any questions?
Yeah, shade sales on the playground equipment.
Okay, no questions that. Okay, we're going to move on to number 3. There's going to be a little process improvement. Instead of writing it down, we're going to give you a sheet so you can write it directly onto the sheet. I'll go around and deliver those to you. But number 3 is a vibrant waterfront that enhances the community and provides opportunities for residents and visitors to experience the benefits of the Port Richey lifestyle. We have 10 minutes, good?
Yep.
Okay, keep going. Okay. That's 10. Are we done? We need more time? We good? Everybody's good? Okay, we start with group 2. If you could hold up your work and explain it. That, whoever came up with that idea deserves kudos. Nope. It was the mayor. It was the mayor. Okay. Except, I have to say this is a little bit more messy though, but
All right, so one of the things that we did talk about was what? Oh, thanks.
That works.
I didn't know if that would pick it up as well. Okay.
All right, so one of the things that we were talking about was, what do other places have that we don't have? Obviously, we're not Tampa, we're not Clearwater, and we're not large enough for that. With their, those places will have, downtowns. Due to our real estate, we'll just never have. But what do we have, and what can we amplify for that? We have Newport Richey right here that already has a great downtown area. So how do we connect the two? How do we bring those two together? So years ago, we started the hike and bike trail. We started that a long time ago, and there's been talks recently about continuing that, going under the bridge or anything like that. I think that we should definitely move forward in that process. Just, you're talking about a small stretch from where the waterfront park ends next to Gildog's Restaurant to Massachusetts and Grand Boulevard. So how can we connect that to us? And that's just for the physical part of it. But what we need to do is a trolley system, water taxis, things like that. Bridge us to them so people can have the downtown down there and then also come here for the more quieter lifestyle, but also the other amenities that we have here. So that was what we were kind of emphasizing on. The other thing is that, as far as our waterfront and everything like that, we should allow jet skis, motorboats, things like that, smaller vehicles that we've talked about recently. But also we need to we need to make stronger rules for them. The last thing we want, what we got to remember is that we've got a lot of residents that, they came here, they bought homes in Port Richey, they want the quiet lifestyle. But we do want to attract everyone to come here and go to our restaurants and go to businesses and help them too. And it would be fine to rent a jet ski or stuff like that, but we need to really push on the business owners who are renting those units, making sure that the clients are actually doing the proper paperwork, being educated, making sure they're taxing slowly, maybe helping the police department, making sure that any of these people are following the rules. So then in that way we can draw these people in, but also be quiet for our residents. So
just to be clear on this, as we'll put this up. So is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ideas there, or is there a couple ideas there?
It's kind of like a few of our ideas, and then they explain, like the hike and bike trail. We kind of wanted to say, how can we do that? How can we connect that? Not only of course, there's the physical problem of connecting us. The fact that it's been separated for so long, but maybe we can just do it through trolleys, water taxis, maybe a small river walk of our own. And then, of course, allowing small motorcraft, but implementing laws that are more stringent.
So would it be okay to consider each one of those a separate point?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? No? No questions? Good. Okay, let's go to group number 1.
Okey dokey. I've got a microphone. We want an observation tower. At Waterfront Park. Okay, we're done. No, I know, we're smart like that. We have one. Not a good idea? Yeah. Someone very smart in this room came up with that, and it wasn't at this table. All right. finish what we started, Cody River Landing. We're trying to make the waterfront beautiful and bring people down. Let's finish what we start. They made me spell it wrong, so I had to fix it. I spelt it right the first time. We also put a river walk, and we were thinking maybe like include the south side of our city, maybe Sunset. We know it's all private property, but just giving ideas. So, all river walk. Canal maintenance, Dave, but make the waterfront appealing to people. Investigate improvements to improve water quality, sedimentation basin, to help the stormwater runoff go down, that there's some sort of a basin you can fix and it fixes that. Don't ask me. Engage waterfront businesses and the state park. Warner Boyce, I read across Tom, I had signed up for a sunset kayak tour out there, and Tom and his family were there, and it's really beautiful. And they're a part of us. So they have a great little organization up there, so I think we need to include them, and also the waterfront businesses. And partner with Newport Richey for joint waterfront activities. Like the boat parade, why are we not like a co-sponsor? Or they start in Miller's Bayou, but we're not even really recognized in that. It's just a Newport Richey boat parade, Christmas parade, Chasco Fiesta parade, and we're not included in that. So partner with Newport Richey in joint ventures.
Questions? Oh, we have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Yes.
Engaging the waterfront business,
Yes, sir.
are we talking about having them actually invest some money into the development of the waterfront, or just, giving suggestions and having the city pay for everything?
I think it's open for interpretation. We need to look into that and see how far we can go. Yes, that's certainly not off the table. Welcome.
Any other questions?
I got the mic.
You got the mic. Okay. Excellent. There's something wrong with this. It's kind of leaning
I
over.
keep tripping on it.
Group number 3.
It is. It's tilted.
You can, if you want, you can temporarily put it up on the wall and explain it. Oh,
So we talked about make sure we have adequate parking to have stuff down there. Make sure that our waterfront is very unique and desirable and complementary to what we have in the area. So hopefully we can have one destination where we have both the attributes of downtown, that's hustle and bustle, and we have the nice waterfront where we can do waterfront activities and enjoy what nature has to offer and the unique things we can put together.
so what do you mean by unique?
Well, we want to. Example would be, it's been kind of tagged as a Fisherman Village theme. As what we developed down there, we want to, when we have people come visit, they want to realize that they're not just at a Clearwater Beach, they're not at Dunedin, they're in Port Richey, and because it has unique attributes to it, whether it's in architecture or amenities. We want to really set us apart from other waterfront areas to pull those people in to come see what we have to offer.
So is that attracting businesses? Is that
All the above.
okay?
Anybody get to come, business, resident.
I mean, I guess unique is it's unique because of the businesses. Is it unique because of the signage, the wayfinding we do there? Is it unique because
Yeah.
what makes it unique? I guess.
So I don't want to necessarily cubbyhole us into a certain thing.
Mhm.
The best I can describe it is if I'm let's say I'm in Kentucky and I'm looking for a place to come down to Florida to vacation.
Mhm.
You know, I'm immediately going to go to the big ones, right? Clearwater Beach, there's that. But if I'm looking for some other different type things that, you know, not just laying on the beach, right? I can go here. I can do some water sports. I'm right here on, you know, the mouth of the Cody River. I can do all these different things. Plus, I've got these eateries and these shops that are unique to the area, and I can, you know, it's just the ability to draw in people that we're actually we're desirable to visit. So it's hard to put a thing on what that uniqueness would be,
Right.
but we want to be something that stands out
Gotcha.
in all aspects.
Okay. Any questions? Buddy?
I was saying scalloping would be perfect.
Sure. Yep. Now the kind of de facto place to do that is Hernando County, right? Well, if we do the right things, we would be number one or number two in that scallop season. So,
Maybe charter businesses that
Mhm.
get people out.
you know, I can also expand a little bit more on that when we going back to what Sal stated about the water taxes and stuff. I mean, we're in a unique position here to where we have a sister city next to us that has a vibrant downtown. It's connected to us via Grand Boulevard. We get a trolley going. We via the river, Cody River. We got a water taxi, so we can really do some neat things, very similar to what Tampa does on a smaller scale. That's more quaint and intimate, and you know, more, you know, really desirable that people would say, "Hey, I want to try that stuff out. It's a neat place to visit. There's a lot to do there, right?"
Okay. Very good. Excellent. Moving on, number 4, constant and continuous engagement with residents and businesses that encourages feedback and participation in the governance process. 10 minutes. Starting now. Okay, that's 10 minutes. Do we need more time? No, you good? 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 Everyone good? Good? We're back to you first. Can we help you there? Yeah, don't damage the city equipment.
Okay, I'll try to control myself.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. Hi, me again. One of the things we said is have remote workshops slash citizen input. Tom had mentioned that previously. I think it's raining out. Previously, a previous, I don't know, mayor or city manager had like workshops like at the fire station. They cleared out the fire station and the residents just went there, or maybe go to Sand Pebble. Obviously, we have a lot of residents at Sand Pebble. Waterfront Park, different restaurants, you know, that would be willing to host it, and just let people come in and ask questions, almost like the town hall, or workshops. We have our workshops. We want our citizens' involvement. Take them to take it to them. Don't have them always coming to us. We want to get the citizens' involvement. Let's go to them. Let's make it a two-way street. A display billboard. The fireworks we're going to do. How a lot of people get us confused with Newport Richie, obviously. What are they doing theirs? They don't know about ours. Get the billboard, and that we can just park in different spots. We're going to have a city council meeting tonight, or we're going to have waterfront, you know, the fireworks. Announce to the residents what's going on. Or maybe put a sign outside City Hall. I don't know. Meeting tonight. Informative pamphlets. One of the biggest things we want to get the citizens here, people are intimidated by coming to city council, and if they do come, they're intimidated by coming up here because they don't know the rules. I know I was for a long time. So let's write the rules down for them so they know that we're following Robert's Rules of Orders, that, you know, you got to give your name, your address, you have 3 minutes, and no, there is no discussion. Once in a while there would be, but we're not being mean, but write the rules and, you know, put the rules outside, or maybe put a couple pamphlets here so that people can pick them up while they come in, so that they feel more comfortable if they choose to say something. It is intimidating to stand up there. Box outside for questions. I don't know if this is possible, like anonymous questions. If somebody has a question for the council, can they put it in the box out there throughout the week, and then can it be brought up in city council? I don't know if that's legal because there's no name or address to it, but it just was one of our suggestions. And then all forms of communication, we went back to that, informing the citizens of what's going on. So informing that we went right back to communication, which is what we said at the first time. Yes. You have a question?
No, I wanted to expand on the information pamphlets. We talked about maybe adding that into.
Put your mic on, Dave.
About the pamphlets, we talked about adding that possibly to the water bill, and as long as that's going out, use that to help effectively communicate some of these things that we're working.
Event calendars, so on and so forth.
I want to comment. I really like the informational pamphlet for the, you know, you get regulars that come in that kind of know how it is, but if we had a little thing out front for the newcomers that come in right there by the door, this, you know, how the city council rules are operated, whatever, right there that they grab when they come in, I think that'd be really helpful. Very good.
It isn't.
Good idea.
It is intimidating. You know, I mean, not everybody is as quiet as me, so.
Any other questions? Okay,
I didn't trip.
route number 3.
Chief on this one?
Yeah, I'm silent.
He's silent. He's silent. I'll let you do this.
Provide ideas.
Let's see. So we said hosting more workshops, having meetings that are also over Zoom to get people that are maybe at home that they can't come in. Have some mailings, signs, like you had mentioned. We actually talked about that exact same thing. There's some grants out there for that kind of item. Having an events calendar and putting it out, you know, way ahead of time so people can make, you know, plans ahead of time.
Hey, going back to the signs,
Yeah.
Chief actually brought up, so, you know, I originally brought this up about the, you know, council meeting tonight or workshop tonight. You know, we're a small community. It doesn't take a whole lot of signs to basically get the word out. You put it Bay Boulevard, you're going to get everybody out there just to remind them that stuff is going on. But Chief even had the idea that I think he mentioned before, they've got the signs, marquees, I guess, or whatever you call them, whatever. If we get a couple of those, that we can use them for other things as well, like, you know, we get something, maybe a water main break and for traffic purposes, but when we're not, we can actually put the council meeting or workshop meeting and more details on there and roll those around where necessary. That might be a good investment. So.
Newsletters, emailing that out. The calendar of events online on our website, and encouraging businesses to get involved. Currently they all have to pay for a BTR, business tax receipt. So maybe during that process, we somehow, encourage them to come to a meeting or give us their feedback. And then working with the chamber as well.
One thing I meant to add that I forgot, Newport Richey actually has a Citizens Academy that they put on maybe quarterly or something like that. I think it'd be nice to have something like that to where it's a class and it's maybe a week long or over the course of a couple of weeks or whatever, and each hour session, one is the building services department to basically train the residents on our government and how things work, and then they go through that process and they graduate and get a certificate that they're a well-informed citizens or something. I think was that be junior mayor for a day, something like that. Absolutely. And all serious, I think that's a really good project that we can, hopefully we can get some citizens trained, and the more training that they have, the more apt they are to be engaged.
Yep, very good. We're going to be putting him right up against that wall there.
If you could write Citizens Academy on there so he has that. Okay.
Okay, group number 2.
So what we were going over was, I'm going to go backwards, but I'm going to put number 4 at the top at the end. But we talked about the CAC, how they have great communication with the city, and they have a pretty good following. Whatever you guys did to start that and get that going seems to be a great process, and we were trying to find a way to piggyback off of that success. And one of the things was like promoting a CAC meeting, and then every quarterly instead of meet your neighbor, do a meet the staff. So quarterly we would come out and be part of that CAC meeting, and that specific one would be dedicated to meeting the staff of the city and give them time to have interaction with us. In process of that, it was the promoting of the town hall events. What can we do to create more attendance at the town hall events? And one of the ideas was, hey, maybe offering some food, some light snacks or finger foods, and people do like to follow snacks, and it gives a chance to break the ice, so to speak, and get you to be here. So they brought about that idea. Also, the possibility of having town hall meetings outside of City Hall, going to different venues or locations and having that, and maybe having light snacks or finger foods there. To make all this happen, the best way to make all of this, and really several of the topics that you guys all brought about, is for us to institute within the city a PIO officer. So a PIO officer, for those that don't know what that is a public information officer, and their job is to specifically inform the public of what's going on. You'll notice they're on Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and social media. They're keeping up websites, and they're going out doing live shoots when things are going on, or they could be here doing a live shoot of this right now, or live stream of this right now. But having one person committed to being a PIO officer, committed to getting all of this information out to the public, would be a big asset. Did I miss anything? I knew it. I knew it.
I was just wondering, if we have a very large PIO officer, is that PIO officer something that could be worked into a volunteer and rolled forward like that?
We talked about that. It's dangerous because usually they have to be trained. They got to be cautious of what they put out, because really they become the spokesperson for the city. So having a PIO officer that wasn't trained with HIPAA laws could get us in trouble. So, but they are a great asset. And if you look at every agency, every large business, never mind just like the county has PIO officers within each department that send out and regulate information. Tom is our PIO officer. He was trained on what to do and how to put out information and what not to put out. But again, those turn into big assets when it comes to getting information out to society. So I would be very cautious with having volunteer. That topic came up in ours.
And one of the reasons that we said all of this too was because, like, for instance, I went to an event and my grandpa was like, "Oh, my granddaughter was appointed to city council," and 3 people said, "Oh, Port Richey has a city council." They didn't even know. So I think having a specific person going out there and informing the citizens, like, they're going to be at a park, they're going to be doing something, somebody's going to be like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And they're, "Oh, I'm the PIO officer for the city of Port Richey. I am talking about the city council meeting," and stuff like that. So that would be a great asset.
Any questions?
I don't have a question. I have a comment. Obviously, going to the town hall and the CAC meet and greet events, obviously the town hall format is new. My whole intent was bringing it forward was to evolve that into something better as we trial and error. And I think a great aspect of that could be maybe a half hour before the town hall meeting be a social hour where we mingle and could have some snacks or whatever, more informal, and then actually have the meeting, and then maybe 30 minutes afterwards could continue to mingle, because we have that anyway. But if we could kind of sell it to come out and have more participation with staff or whatever, opportunity to come out and kind of mingle, we kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We get the more personal aspect of it, and then we get down to business, and then we go back to the personal aspect. So it's an inviting environment. I think it's a good idea.
At the beginning of the CAC, that's what we did. We had different departments come out, we had different department heads come out to the CAC, and they just were part of the group, but they knew the fire chief was coming out, the police chief was coming out, the city manager was coming out, different meetings, and they did come out, and we did get some good participation in that. So instead of making more meetings, incorporating them and making them, people have lives and they can't go to 6 meetings a month.
Sure.
So incorporating and killing 2 birds with 1 stone for the residents to come out, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah, and the town halls, the cadence is quarterly, right? So it's 4 meetings a year, not very many. But if we could,
No, but then there's 2 city hall meetings, and then there's 2 city council meetings, and so then it does start to build up. We have workshops now, so it starts to build up for the residents.
Sure.
They get overloaded, and they have soccer and football and baseball and doctor's appointments and nothing to do.
No, and I will say I've had several comments about the 2 town hall meetings that we have had that people said, "Yeah, I'd really like that. I'm going to come to the next one." That was, as we see, we've kind of grown, and like I said, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. But if we can make it a little more social, we can get more involved. I don't know if the cadence is off for a year, is not, because it's a different format too. We want to make sure that as we get the feedback from the residents, that we're able to communicate with them in real time, as opposed to them coming to a council meeting, having that 3 minutes. The whole format of the town hall is bi-directional. Right? So
The napkin was towards me. I'm missing my napkin.
okay.
And that's what we meant with the draw, like to draw people in, maybe have that 30 minutes before town hall or 30 minutes before a CAC meeting, or, and have like a collaborative effort, because even if they don't come to town hall, they might be able to come to the CAC meeting, and you all talk about important stuff too.
Stop for the social aspect of it, or they come late and they miss that, and they just get to the meeting, take to the meeting. So just have a little multi-function for those two. I like that.
Good. Very good. We're almost there. So we're now on number 5. Seek to develop strategic partnerships with other municipalities, levels of governments, quasi-governmental agencies, nonprofits, and commercial entities that will better the city of Port Richey. We got 10 minutes? Not yet? 10 minutes, please? You'll get it. But what I did do is I didn't, usually I put the dog in the crate. So now I'm thinking she hates crate. Hopefully she just went to her crate. She's probably staying, because whenever I leave, or go for her crate, she's laying on the bed. Just laying on the bed. Around the businesses, exactly. As well as I guess it would be like Saturday. It's like, somewhere very close to the whole place shut. She was laying on the one side of the bed, and I think, I don't know which one really woke me up, thunder or going across the floor so fast. I wasn't sure if I jumped over the bed. You know, like, Stinky's starting to sound yeah, it's been a long time. I don't like the way they taste now. You have to go back in like the late 70s, they really taste more. So it's 70s flavor, not like the 90s. There was more chemically induced back in the 70s. They did, I'll tell you what they did, they changed the facilities. The 70s finish versus the 90s two different white strains, totally different. Tastes more chemically, more chemical nowadays, I guess. I'm pretty sure that was one of the things that led to you don't go big. What are you doing? Well, again, you know, there's something about when they fill the, I'm sure you guys are That's a long time. But I think it was about 3 minutes. So you're good. Yeah. Need more time, anybody? You're good? Group 2? Group 2 is good? Group 3, good? Group 1? Group 1? Group 1? Group 1, done? Nope, we're starting with Group 2. We're starting with Group 3. Group 3. Group 3. Okay. Group 3. Microphone on.
I can do this one. So, this is probably the most important thing that we can really do is to develop our relationships. I think it's something that I've focused heavily on since my election back in April. Is building partnerships with Newport Richey, with the county. So, I want to encourage council, members of staff to participate in any event that they can. It's available. I can tell you, as an example, there's conferences and stuff that are out there. I attended the Florida League of Cities conference last year. I was the only one from Port Richey there. And I know there's financial constraints too. So as we went on and talked about, also, if we have the opportunity or you have the opportunity to participate in those are great opportunities to do so. But it can be as easy as, and I use the example of, Rachel reaching out to the finance director of Newport Richey and having lunch. Similar to what you do with the city manager. Build those relationships with your counterparts, and then you can even expand a little farther than that. Obviously, you may, as a finance director, you may be doing finance director stuff, but you could also have a certain relationship with internally the fire department, police, the way you interact with those agencies within the city. There may be opportunity that makes sense to reach out to the fire department chief of Newport Richey or the county to bounce some things off of. So create opportunities to build relationships, because at the end of the day, the more we get out there and we interface with our counterparts, as things come up where we need to interact together, they say, "Oh, I know Rachel. I've met her. I've had lunch with her," and they go above and beyond really to help us, and that's the same. So you build those relationships. So it's very, very key. Same thing on the business owner side. If there's opportunity to reach out and have lunch with, say, Eric at Guild Dogs, the opportunity to meet them and ask them what their needs are. The more we can interface with the community and build those relationships, the better off we're going to be viewed, and the better off we're going to be, because we're going to get that input that we're looking for. And then it's also brought up that we don't have this as part of the benefit package for the staff to take a volunteer day, where they might one day a year staff can volunteer for organization and do or Habitat for Humanity or United Way, or get involved in the community and give back. And then, by doing that, the people you're serving. Of course, Port Richey was really nice. They came out and helped us, and it really pays dividends beyond what we can imagine on our image. So.
Very good. Any questions? Okay. Group number 2.
All right, so one of our biggest associations that the city has been tied in for many years is MAP, Municipal Association of Pasco. We need to expand it. We need to make it bigger. We need to get more involved. It's more or less it's a meet and greet. It's a dinner, and what did each city do, and we're done. But how can we strengthen that? We're all in the same room already. We're sitting there with every city, the county. Why can't we bring more to that table? I mean, those meetings are already set. We're already doing it. If we need to have more of us go there and and emphasize change, we should do that. That's really a big deal. Looking to create more co-events with Newport Richey. For instance, what was brought up, our firework event, that we do. Newport Richey does their own. We do our own. We've become so segregated. Many years ago, when I was younger, Councilman Kinsella remembers the Gulfview Square Mall held a firework event, and it was monstrous. It was huge. None of the others independent, the cities didn't have to do their own because they had that large event. Maybe we should consider combining that once again, bridging that gap, instead of us worrying about, well, they're doing theirs on this day and they're doing, we'll do our own thing. We should look to doing more co-events. And that was just, of course, an example.
Hey, if I could interject on that, so just to go back to it. So I can tell you, right now our relationship with Newport Richey is the closest it's ever been. I've worked hard on that. Me and Chopper meet 3 or 4 times a week socially. He comes to our council meetings, as you've seen out there. I go to his council meetings. And I know that the city managers meet. So this is a real opportunity to look at where we can get together and do some things. You mentioned the boat parade. It's all Newport Richey. Well, let's partner with these guys. We've got the connections built. There's no reason why we can't capitalize on that and, like I said, share in those events. Thanks for bringing that up.
Investigate ways to help and offer incentives for new businesses, developments, things like that. What can we do to bring them in? What can we offer? Maybe there's tax incentives, impact fee breaks, something. Of course, we don't want to give away, everything for someone to come in, but there has to be ways that we can provide, especially us being a coastal community. One of the biggest problems is that some of our developments are falling through because of they have to fill the property. They have to go above base flood elevation. That can cost almost anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million alone in fill. So that initial investment is turning away developers from like, wait a minute, I got to develop this property, but my initial investment is monstrous. So maybe we can look into incentive program or something like that to draw more businesses in, some sort of break or something that we can do to provide to them. Expanding our relationship, of course, with the new Chamber of Commerce, with the Port Richey Chamber of Commerce. They just started. They're starting to plan events. They're starting to build, starting to broad. So I think that now this is an opportunity for us to start working with them, work on these events, plan things moving forward and going on. Expanding MOUs with Pasco County, memorandums of understanding. The police. Fire department have MOUs for assistance that helps. I'd like to, we talked about expanding that to maybe our public works, our utility departments. We only have a handful of those in each department, and getting some sort of MOU agreement with them in the event that we have emergencies or something like that would be really helpful. And establish our city sisters in other states and countries. Types of programs like that. Did you want to elaborate just a little bit more on that real quick?
Oh, well, okay. So we're a tiny town, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't find other towns that are similar to us in other states and other countries just to establish and say, hey, our mayor's going to go to their town, their mayor's going to come here, we'll have events. Let's say, I know the Chamber's wanting to do a bike fest, like a Sturgis bike fest potentially at the mall, right? Well, Sturgis might be interested in being a sister or an aunt to Port Richey. Those kinds of connections that's a continental connection that we could have, and we shouldn't limit ourselves to just, let's say, I know Newport Richey's like a sister city, but we could expand even the tourism that would come to Port Richey with sister cities like that. And I know I lived in Germany for almost 8 years. The town that I lived in, it had 3 sister cities with little towns here in the United States, and people would come directly to those cities, directly from Germany, because they knew that they existed, because they'd seen all about it over, in museums and on their city signage and et cetera. So that's a great chance for people to hear about Port Richey, even overseas. And I know that that's like crazy, but it's an option.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, group number 1.
I'm up. Can anybody hear me? So the first thing we talked about is Adopt the Road program to maybe bring nonprofits and other organizations inside the area to have them feel like they're more of an impact of making a difference with being able to adopt a road, and they maintain and take care of that road. You'll see them go up and down the other side. The other one was strengthen public and private partnerships. It's something I think that's been brought up in everybody's topic here, and it's been brought up in almost every one of the ideas going through. Is to really strengthen those relationships and open those doors to our private partnerships. The public side comes strengthen with the private sides. Look at governmental agencies as allies, not as enemies. And it's in the past it's been looked at. Maybe other organizations. Like, I wouldn't say really an enemy, but maybe somebody like, oh, what are they doing? What's their intentions? Have more of a proactive and open eyes approach to other working with other agencies. Informal local and county Newport Richey meetings. I brought up to our group that every 3 months, well, so every quarter, it's called the fire chiefs meet for Pasco County. So the Newport Richey fire chief, well, it's the fire chief and their assistants meet, and every 3 months sit down and just talk about what's going on, what's going to happen, and work with each other. Hey, are you making a large purchase? Because if so, pick up that purchase and get your pricing instead of getting our independent pricing, and it really opens up those areas than just shooting off an email and saying, hey, here's what we're doing. Be the first to extend the hand. We always want people to help us, but sometimes that means we need to reciprocate. Be the first to offer that hand. I know we're a small city. I know we have limited resources, but maybe sometimes extending that hand for them to say, oh, look, hey, Port Richey took the time to reach out to us. Maybe we should go see what's going on over there. And that's for everything, nonprofit, governmental agencies, everybody. Use verbal communications prior to official written emails. Sometimes calling the individual ahead of time and saying, hey, we got this email. What's going on? Like we're, what's this, especially with like grants and stuff, you receive an email from FEMA and FEMA saying, hey, this and that. Well, hey, what's going on with this email? What's the direction? Oh, okay. And then you just follow it up with as per our conversation and all of that stuff. Because you can speak with passion. It's hard to email. So I think if you have those verbal communication, and it looks like you're not trying to just respond to that email and move on with your day. You're taking that personal time to give them that personal touch.
Any questions? Okay. Well, we're down to the last strategic outcome. Strengthen Port Richey's ability so it can be a safe, resilient community by delivery of high-quality public safety services.
3 more firefighters, another truck, and a bigger station.
10 minutes. Done? I don't know if he's saying no to me or if he's not done. Done? We're done? Whose turn to go first? Okay. Time is up. Group number 1, hit it.
So we wrote that there needs to be a constant evaluation and reevaluation of the needs and processes and equipment of our public safety to support the community's needs. Set public safety abilities to the community's needs. What that means is, like we were explaining here, is that we're a waterfront community, and I'm speaking from obviously the fire side because I work for the fire department. But there's times that we have more water rescues than we do structure fires. Well, so we need to address those needs to make sure that our people have the safest on site. We still need to focus our attention on our bread and butter, but also be able to respond appropriately to those needs. Be fiscally responsible in this process. You could literally purchase yourself way out of the public safety business by spending money on just because you think we might need it. Define public safety. So we were talking about that in there, is that, obviously if you talk to a firefighter, you're going to define public safety from a fire department needs. You're going to define public safety from a police department needs. And Daryl was bringing up, other public safety issues, potholes in the road, sidewalks, equipment needs, and all that other stuff. So really defining what public safety means to our city. And then those public safety organizations do community risk reduction programs for what the community has. Obviously a 10-story, well, that's a bad example, but a 20-story building, education on fire escapes doesn't do any of our city residents any justice here. But maybe a fire program on proper fueling of your boat, or the electric shock, or hazards that are in our community. So that's what we put down for our public safety, how to maintain a resilient community with it.
Any questions? Nope. Group 3.
What we looked at is what I call smart annexation, which means not necessarily going out and taking a large amount of that's unincorporated and bringing it into the city of Port Richey, but doing it in a methodical way so that we can not only keep the same level of service that we have. So in other words, if we just basically square off the city, we're really not going to need any more additional personnel. But if we start expanding, like with all the different some of the surrounding areas that are a little further out, then what we can do is, if we need to hire another officer, that's fine. But we want to be able to provide the citizens of the city the same level of service that they have now. So we don't want to overextend ourselves by taking on too much at one time and then losing that personal touch, if you will, with the citizens that we have right now. That's part of the cleaning up the lines, is the same annexation where you go around the corner and you have the storage unit that's in. Across the street, you have one lot that's ours, and the next lot belongs to Pasco, and 91 FM is. So cleaning up those lines, I think, are important for not only us, but the fire department as well. Moratorium on some of the businesses that we have coming in the city, such as the game rooms. I think if the next one goes in, we'll be up to 10 in a roughly 3 mile, a little over 3 mile square city. A lot of smoke shops popping up, and we also have, I think, like a car lot every 100 yards within the city. I think we need to start looking at some moratoriums, because we're trying to promote the city as family oriented and nice and a quiet place to live. You don't want to have to drive past. We already got enough bars, but you don't want to have to drive past smoke shops, and you don't want to have to drive by these game rooms that are cash businesses that could lead us to some more violent crimes. Is it the creating zip code?
Yeah, there was one thing brought up about a lot of our statistics are based on 34668 as a whole. And so it makes us look worse than we actually are. So I don't know if there's something that process or where we could actually create our own separate zip code so that we are treated differently. And that's insurance purposes across the board. There's a lot of advantages to not having the stuff that's outside the city affecting our actual statistics.
Right. Cherokee and I talked about that. I talked about that with Ronald McDonald. I've been talking about that since we got here, is that if you're a prospective homeowner coming from another state, or you're looking to bring a business here to the city, and you look on the website, you know, the crime rate's an F. And that's not a true representation of the incorporated area of Port Richey. But we have to take, you know, we take that hit, and that's not fair, and it's could be preventing us from having more people in business moving into the city. So that's something we need to look at.
I think that's a post office thing because, for instance, my zip code is totally different from everybody else's. That's why I get the new Port Richey letter, because when they built my area, the only way to get to me is through Newport Richey, so they incorporated my zip code, is 34652, into the Newport Richey zip code for the mail truck. So they just come, excuse me, I apologize. They just come through, and so that's how that is. So I think that's a post office,
There's a
post office thing that's not
Actually,
easy, I don't think.
that's not easy. St. Leo.
St. Leo is going through that right now, I think, or. Yeah, there's, I've done it before. There's a process, as with everything with federal government.
I think that would be worth
It's not
it.
easy, yeah.
I think it'd be
It's
worth
worth
it.
looking into.
It'd be worth it.
So I don't get a lot of the
Right.
stuff that you guys get.
Right. And then we looked at making sure that we have the proper equipment to do the job. That not just police vehicles, but fire engines and whatever other public works type of vehicles, so we can provide the service that the citizens are expecting and deserve. If you can't get to them and perform the service, then what good is it? So.
Yeah, the other thing was on the department structure. You know, a lot of times when a new department head would come in, at least in the corporate world, first thing they're going to do is reorganization, right? To find out how he wants things to run. I don't think it's necessarily always great to wait on that to happen. I think it's important that in order to provide these services, we constantly take a look at our organization and look for ways we could improve that, tweaks here. Maybe we add a sergeant, add a captain, add a lieutenant, or whatever into police fire. The same thing on the fire. You know, always look at your organization to see, of course, as we grow and contract and the things that happen, what staff you need, how best to organize that and make those changes and be more agile in that, as opposed to just waiting for a change of direction. Because obviously we're always going to have people coming in and out of these roles. Take it upon yourself to make sure you got the right department structure to do the best work you can.
Any questions? Good. Okay, group number 2.
Education and training. This is for everyone, staff members, residents, all the way, just getting the word out there, making them aware of what we have. But this also brings in our idea of a PIO, having someone that will be able to be instrumental, pulling this all together and making it work. Again, part of that training is the videos that we have. We talked about this little room right up here converting in, where anyone who walks in the door, here's a training room that they could sit down and get some basic information that is needed. Expansion of our training budgets, getting more grants out there and whatever we can. Again, we heard earlier, Captain talked about reaching some of these other departments that they have opportunities for grants, sharing that information, and then piggybacking with them on it so we can move forward. A new facility, more so for our fire department, something that they can actually back a real fire truck into it without having to worry about flattening the tires. So that would be nice. We talked about the CSUs, which are the Citizen Service Units. The Sheriff's Office has something going on like that. It's volunteers. It's going back to the volunteers that we talked about. Having the ability to, if there's a traffic accident or they block off, having a unit as such to be there to assist and not take away from the actual investigation, but there to relieve some of the first responders, whatever they're doing, having these the CSU, take over that work, and again, utilizing the volunteer program more so. Also, hopefully that school opens up at Pine Hill. Eventually, they may need crossing guards there, so the CSU could be a part of that, going on, utilizing some of the volunteers in the area. And again, these volunteers would be simple tasks. Something that, yes, they have some proper training, but at the same time, helping, relieving our staff members and doing some of the work. Things to include, we talked about possibly getting some scout groups in here to assist. They all have to do community projects, which is a must. An example would be after the fireworks. When we have the firework display, who's going to clean that up? Well, we know Public Works is. They're going to be right there. So the volunteers could be there to do that work, so our paid staff will take care of what is needed out there. So utilizing some of our volunteers in areas that we could actually use them in, and go a long ways with it. To include internship, reaching out to some of the Pasco Hernando State College. They got a police academy, I believe. They got a fire academy. USF, they have medical training. Getting some interns that be able to come here to fulfill some of their obligations, their requirements for their degree, but at the same time, take advantage of this free service. So those are our ideas.
Very good. Any questions?
I just kind of love the volunteer staff. I'd actually went out to Pasco County job site, and there was jobs out there that were paid jobs that were volunteer, because actually I think they have an active volunteer staff program for certain issues. So I think it's a great thing that get free help and people involved in the community. So that's great.
And I would just like to add that besides internships and et cetera, when I was in college also, we were required to have certain amount of hours of volunteering, like for instance, anthropology and et cetera, being out and observing people and stuff. But, that could be a thing too. That's for your resume. And it looks really good on your resume to have this volunteer, like having certain amount of volunteer hours. And so we could target not just people who require internships, also look to volunteers who want to buffer up or beef up their resumes too.
Okay. Do you want to put that last one up on? So, a lot of good ideas up here. How do you feel at this point, besides tired? Wonderful. I mean, I think, we should feel very proud. I think there's a lot of great ideas here. The unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of ideas here, right? And that leads us to this last exercise we're going to do. You have dots. You have 12 dots each. Right? You want to count them? 12? Yep. Just like the number of fingers, 12. So we got 12. So now the way that we're going to do this is we're going to take some time and everyone's going to go around and put your dots on the ideas you like. Rules, though, you can't put more than 2 dots on any one topic yourself. So you can put 2 on, you really like the expansion of training budgets, but you can't put 6, right? You can only put 2 each. And then we'll see what we come up with when we're done. Now, the end, I'm just saying that, although there's a lot of ideas, I don't think we should lose any idea in our goals. But that being said, we have to prioritize. And, when we get into the budget, this is how we're going to build budget towards these prioritized goals. But opportunities sometimes come along when, geez, this isn't the highest priority, but we have a grant program or someone comes in and I want to donate money, or a city contacts us, say, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to be a part of it? I think, these other ideas come in and say, hey, they're a goal that we have. We should take advantage of it. So they're kind of, opportunities that come along that we can take advantage of. But let's focus on priorities. So you have 12. You can only put the most of 2 on any one idea, and you're going to have 10 minutes to complete this.
So, because there's 6 strategic outcomes,
Yep.
we should be putting 2 on each group of 3 for each one. So group number 1, we should put 2 dots.
Well, that's one way you could do it. But you see, and I think staff probably knows this, I like to do things in an open-ended way, not give that direction to see what happens.
You only put a max of 2 on there.
2 on any one idea. Yeah, you could use them all on one idea if you want, but you can only put 2 on any single idea.
On a single idea.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So you could put 12 on
one piece of paper.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Got it? Up.
Can I make one recommendation?
Yes, go ahead.
Each group has to start at the opposite group's photos or ideas.
Well, see,
Right now, we're gonna just turn around and start here.
Okay, so let's all just shift one. You come here, we'll go there, and you go there.
there you go. Sounds like a plan. See, that's teamwork. Teamwork.
the fact that so many people pointed out that we're all kind of on the same page already, because a lot of ideas were present on almost every single sheet. So that was really encouraging.
Else related that we didn't talk about, we didn't capture up on these boards that we need to talk about?
You had a similar exercise with staff, or is that?
We did kind of an internal how to make the organization and city better.
Mm-hmm.
And so in doing that, focus more on things that, interesting enough, were some outward focus, like, having city council have goals. Came across, kind of there is connection points here throughout this. Where they highlighted that we need to have SOPs and kind of a step-by-step on how we do things. And, it kind of came out again here that we need to do that as well as a way to communicate, to make sure that we replicate something over. Because, something we do today good, we want to be able to do good tomorrow, do good 5 weeks from now, right? Mm-hmm. And really develop the process, understandings of those process, those SOPs and step-by-steps are very important.
Yeah. Fantastic exercise. I think it's very, very valuable. That the information we've been able to put together collectively, fantastic. The only sad part about it is it'd be nice to have some resident participation. Maybe have a separate exercise similar to this for the residents. But again, it's all based on participation. But it would be really nice to somehow engage them via electronic means or something to try to get some answers back.
So I think I was actually talking to our lone resident who was here earlier tonight about that. And what I said is normally, when you do this process, you start with the residents first. You start collecting what their ideas are, and then you mix it in here. Because we wanted to get this going sooner.
Sure.
Haven't had that run up time to be able to do that here, but it's going to be a part of the process. And I think then on the backside, which is we're starting 2/3 of the way in effectively. The third one is okay. Now council is going to be voting on these. It's going to give the public an opportunity to speak to you about what you see the goals are. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of getting the end of feedback part, but you're not getting the input part yet. But again, that'll be a part of the process going forward. Yes.
I think, though, for this evening, you asked us to come up with goals that we thought of as well. So I think at some point we should discuss like departmental pain points or items that we had thought of.
Well, and again, one, the importance of you hearing firsthand and being a part of these overall, go back to your department and say, okay, I understand where council's going. These are the things that we are going to prioritize within our department to help achieve these. And as you know, that becomes part of the budget. So we can then start developing, okay, council's goal, whatever it is, and we look at it, and when you're meeting, and we're meeting going to say, okay, how does this achieve, an adaptable, efficient, effective, fiscally responsible government? Tell us how that is. And we can go down each one of those and ask that question of the way that they're spending money. And it becomes a tool for council to make those decisions when it comes to you. Is this meeting what our outcomes are? Is this helping us achieve the vision that we laid out? So this is a very important piece, but it's only a piece. Again, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that departments now are going to have to be tasked with to start developing their work plan to achieve these goals. That's one of the things that, I don't really call budgets. I call them work plans. This is what we're going to do to achieve the goals that council has laid out for us. So there is that opportunity. And again, everyone sitting here that's not a council member, hope you hear this because that's how we're going to be running the budget is through that filter. And how does what you're doing achieve one of these strategic outcomes, and particularly which one of these goals that we've identified does it include? Very good. Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll release you. I mean, I was prepared another hour or so, and I was planning on 20 minutes for each one of those, so. Thank you.
Only their snacks.
Thanks, Matt. Is there any old business?
No.
None? All right. Motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.